to the San Francisco 49ers State of the Franchise.
Come on, 60 minutes, all you got for me. 60 minutes, all you got for me. Let's go. Let's dominate on three. 1, 2, 3.
They block the punt up into the air and spinning inside the 10. Picked up and a touchdown.
Caught by George Kittle, racing down the sideline. Still inbounds. He'll take it all the way in. Touchdown. Russell will get him from behind. Left now throws. Ball got batted up in the air and intercepted by Jimmy Ward. Caught by Jauan Jennings. Touchdown! San Francisco! Yo! Papa! I knew these guys in front would get it. You guys are insane. You're insane. Can we start it out the right way tonight? You know the call, right? I'll start it. You guys finish it. Ready? Touchdown! San Francisco! Let's do this. Welcome to the 2022 State of the Franchise here in Levi's in this beautiful facility. It's presented by Socios.com. I am Greg Papa, thrilled to be the radio voice of the 49ers, and it's just great to be back in the room among all these faces. The last couple of years, we did it via Zoom and, separate rooms, so it's just so great to be here. So, Faithful, are you ready for a night? We got a long list of headliners. Let me hear how excited you are about tonight. And I met a lot of you downstairs at the museum. What a great venue tonight, a fitting location to be among the storied history of this great franchise, the legacy of the 5-time Super Bowl champions, and we look forward to what's coming ahead in the 2022 year. So we have an amazing night in store for you tonight. We have all facets of the 49er organization, from executive leadership, the coaching staff, and as well as a couple of players as well you're going to want to get to know. So let's get the program started tonight, and there's no one better to kick off our event than our boss, our CEO, Jed York. Unfortunately, Jed couldn't be with us in attendance tonight, but he has taped a special message for the faithful as we look forward to the 2022 season. Let's take a look.
Welcome to the 2022 49ers State of the Franchise. Last year was an incredibly exciting season. We had a lot of great play on the field, and I give so much credit to John and Kyle for keeping a team together after a 3-5 start and getting us within one game of returning to the Super Bowl. But the real MVPs last year were you all, the 49ers faithful. You guys brought it every game at Levi's Stadium, and you definitely brought it on the road. We felt you the entire year. You truly helped us galvanize a team and make a march, back to the NFC Championship game. We're very excited for this upcoming season. We're going to be returning to Mexico City for the first time that there was ever an NFL regular season game abroad in 2005. We can't wait to get back to Mexico City. Stadium Azteca is such an awesome venue. Faithful, we can't wait to welcome you there and see all of our fans in Mexico. It's going to be an exciting experience. And our return to Mexico brings us full circle in another way, as Frank Gore played in the previous Mexico City game as a rookie. And now we're excited to induct him into the Edward J. DeBartolo Sr. 49ers Hall of Fame. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Frank's heart is unmatched by anybody. His spirit, his determination, it made him such an amazing player, not just for the 49ers, but for his 16 years in the NFL. And I know it's not going to be too long before Frank makes his way to Canton, which brings us to another 49er and a great piece of our team and a great legacy, Bryant Young. BY, it's been a long wait for you to get into Canton, but you were in a place that you deserve to be. BY won the Len Eschmont Award an unprecedented 8 times. And I mean, that's something that our players vote on as really the person that's the heart and soul of our team. That epitomizes Bryant Young. He is truly a legend, and I'm very proud and very excited to see him inducted into Canton this year. The exciting thing after we return from Canton is really the return to the field of this 49ers football team. And like I said at the beginning, I have so much trust and faith in Jauan and Kyle. I have so much respect for what they've built since they came here in 2017. Just watching the growth of this club and watching our players come together, I couldn't be more excited for the 2022 campaign, and I couldn't be more excited than to see the faithful again, both at Levi's Stadium and on the road. Thank you for all of your support, and now I'm going to kick it back to Greg Papa.
Thank you, Jed. Let's get a round of applause for Jed York. And as Jed said, there's a lot to be excited about this coming season. Returning to Mexico City, the great Frank Gore. I see you, number 21. Stand up, 21. How many 21s we got here? He's going to go into the 49ers Hall of Fame. I see so many 97s, I can't tell if it's for Bosa or for BY. And we got Bryant Young going in as a gold jacket recipient of the Canton this year in early August. So I am so excited about the upcoming season in light of the way, 2 of the last 3 years getting so close to getting that elusive 6th Lombardi. But I know a guy who's even more excited about the coming year and having you back and having a full house at Levi's. I think a lot of you met him earlier tonight. Let's bring out the president of the San Francisco 49ers, Al Guido. Only time I can take him down in the open field. So how are you, sir?
I'm doing
great.
Nice
to see you.
Thanks for being here.
And it's so great to be the last couple of years. We did this via Zoom and players only. It's just so great to have the fans back in this great venue.
That's awesome. We got a studio audience. Hey, let's all congratulate Greg Papa on his extension.
Thank you, bro.
Play-by-play voice through at least 2028. Right?
Long time.
Long time.
My first year was 2019, and in 2028, it'll take me 10 years, a decade. In my first year, we're 7 minutes away from a Super Bowl than last year, so it's going to come. But let's start with the reopening of Levi's. Go back to the pandemic year of 2020. It was so weird. But to have the fans back at Levi's and to have everybody there, Al, what did it mean to you personally and the organization?
Meant everything. I think in life, you take these things for granted, whether you like to believe it or not. And, I got so used to coming to games for so long with my family, my friends, my dad, my mom, talking shop, and then all of a sudden it gets stripped away from you. And you realize how important it is and how much it means to you. And so to walk in there last year on the opening day, to see 70,000 fans, and then we get off to a terrible start, right? Like the season, we start 3-5, as Jed mentioned, and then we win our last 4, and it's look, I've been here now over 10 years. I can't even believe we're heading into our 9th season at Levi's Stadium. It's kind of crazy how time flies, to be honest with you. And to see what you all brought to us at home, and then you brought to us on the road. I mean, to go down to Dallas, then to Green Bay, SoFi twice. I forgot about the last regular season game. I mean, you talk about faithful. Faithful doesn't just exist here in the Bay Area. It exists, frankly, all over the globe. And I don't think we make that run without looking up and seeing all those red jerseys in the stadium and knowing what kind of a home field advantage that we have. So I'm super excited for this coming year. We got a hell of a team. I know John and Kyle are going to speak to that later, but we couldn't do it without the 70,000 faithful in attendance every single Sunday making a lot of noise. So thank you very much.
Yeah, round of applause. And not just here. How about going down to SoFi and taking over their home stadium twice there and playing so well there? So give me your thoughts about the upcoming season and how you're feeling about the squad. And what are you most excited about in 2022, Al?
Well, I think, look, we return a really good football team, and then we've added to it over the course of the offseason. And, I think anytime you go through, we said when we went to the Super Bowl and unfortunately came up a little short against Kansas City, we never really got the revenge tour we wanted. It was COVID. There was nobody in the stadium. It was just weird. I can promise you, white noise in the stadium is nothing I want to hear ever again. So to do that and go on the run and come up a little bit short, but I always say, we're back to our rightful place of competing every year for championships. And I got great teammates in the front office. I'm thankful to work for a tremendous family in the York family and to have John and Kyle here now for a couple years together, doing what they do on the football side, we doing what we do on the business side. To me, we're playing 5 primetime games, right? That is where the 49ers belong. We belong in primetime. It is an unbelievable schedule this year. Not just our division opponents, but you think about Mike McDaniel making a return to Levi's Stadium with the Miami Dolphins. You think about a rematch of the Super Bowl and the Kansas City Chiefs, right? You think about the Bosa brothers going up, with the LA Chargers. And then we go down to Las Vegas and we play the Las Vegas Raiders. We go to Mexico. I mean, there's so many things about this upcoming season I'm really, really excited for. I always say, like, last year we didn't do a good job on the field. Y'all did a great job off the field, but we got to take care of home field. Our division is always tough. We know it's the way to get into the playoffs. This year we want to come out of the gate strong. I know we open up on the road, but I fully expect and hope that you're all there making a lot of noise when we come back to open up our home season schedule and that you're there throughout the rest of the time.
Jed mentioned Mexico City, November the 21st, the Monday before Thanksgiving. So let's talk about the game. And they played there before, a huge crowd. What do you expect when the 49ers go play the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico City?
Put simply, a 49ers home game,
Yeah.
right? I put simply, let's make it a 49ers home game. Look, it's a tremendous opportunity for our franchise. I often say we stand on the shoulder of giants. There's so many people that came before us, so past and present, that give us the ability to do this on a daily basis, to give the ability to cheer for this team. And so to be able to go down to Mexico, to play in front of fans, to play a division game. And so I want to make sure it's clear, like that game, look, every regular season game is important, but we know how much division games matter. And the Cardinals have been tough, right? We know they're a tough opponent. And I think knowing that they give up a home game, they move away from their stadium, they go to Mexico, gives us a chance to make that stadium 49er red. And so what I would say is if you're interested in that, going to that game, Mexico City is a great experience. I promise you. I've been there a bunch. It is a great experience. Estadio Azteca has a lot of seats. And so my hope is when that whistle sounds and their quarterback is behind center, or most likely in a shotgun, because we know that's the way it works, that he feels that it's an away game. And we saw that last year when Matthew Stafford made a comment about going to a silent count in SoFi Stadium. We need that same environment in Stadio Azteca. Thank you.
Mrs. Stafford actually made the comment.
Yeah, that's right.
She didn't like it as much. So the 49ers are not going to play in Arizona in the regular season, but we are planning on playing there in the postseason, a game called the Super Bowl will be in Glendale. So it's so great to have the reaction and just a live event like this, Al. We missed it so much in the pandemic year. It started to come back more last year. But what are you and your staff doing to create the best live experience possible for the faithful when they come to Levi's this year?
Well, I've said this in previous State of the Franchise. I really thank all the fans for the patience. It's not easy moving into a new venue and doing so with 2.5 million square feet. And so every year we try to get better, whether that's our food and beverage experience, whether that's our parking experience, whether that's our retail. I know we give Alex Chang, our CMO, credit. He went back to the saloon font. I see it on some of your jerseys, right? We brought some of the elements back from our history here. And last year we rolled out a new initiative for all season ticket members called our Member Inclusive Menu, as an all-inclusive food and beverage for certain items. I promise you out of the gate it wasn't perfect. And anytime you're trying to do something that's trying to disrupt an industry, it's never going to be perfect. But throughout the course of the year, I think we got a lot better. We saw our highest fan survey scores that we've ever seen here in Levi's Stadium. And that's a testament to, frankly, all of you kind of helping us work through the kinks as we open this building back up. It wasn't easy, I promise you, getting 3,500 staff members to open up a venue that was closed for 18 months. So this year, you'll see a lot of new technology in the building. There'll be new TVs. There'll be new assets that we're bringing on board. But we're really starting to think about kind of Levi's 2.0 and what that means. And so there can be renovations down the road that we're talking about in the stadium to enhance the fan experience. We know parking is never easy. Trust me, it's a mathematical equation that is not simple, right? You're trying to bring 70,000 people into a venue at a specific period of time. And we know y'all love your tailgating, so I get it. Trust me, I do too. And so for us, having a development across, the way here that's going to enhance the fan experience, coupled with what we do on site, I think is going to really, really, for all of you, I think it's going to be a great game day experience for 2022 and beyond.
And after the Mexico City trip, the team comes home the bye weeks earlier in the year, so no bye. And you'll roll right into it with 3 straight home games. So it's going to be a busy time for you and your staff at the second half of the year. But tell me what's on the horizon. You kind of alluded to it a little bit there, beyond the 22 season and in future years, Al.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, look, I always say the hero feature is the San Francisco 49ers. That's what we're here for. And the reality is that Levi Stadium has provided us an opportunity to bring other major events here. And I have not kept this a secret. We are trying to get the next Super Bowl. We want to, yes. I know we all wanted in Super Bowl 50 to be the first team that hosted, played, and won a Super Bowl in their venue. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Tampa made it happen. But we are talking to the NFL right now and all of our partners around the ability to bring Super Bowl 60 and or 61 back to the Bay Area and Levi Stadium. Yeah. On top of that, we have been bidding on the World Cup for 2026. I think it's an amazing opportunity for all of us. Yes.
Wow.
I know we're here to talk about American football, but the other football.
Fairly popular.
Look, it's a big deal. And I think as stewards of the community, right, it's to think about what a World Cup can bring to the Bay Area. We all know what it meant to the United States in 1994 to see that happen. Frankly, we have local legends in our own market, like a Brandy Chastain, right, on the women's side, who won a World Cup. So to be able to use Levi Stadium for potentially up to 6 to 8 matches over a 30-day span, to bring the economic impact to this region that we all need. We all know it was tough over those course 18 to 24 months. People lost their jobs. They were at home. So to be able to provide for people to open up our restaurants, to open up our hotels, to bring back that vibrant energy that we've all been sorely lacking, frankly, Levi Stadium gives us an opportunity to do that. We saw it a couple weeks ago with 50,000 people coming back in this building to see Coldplay. We got the Red Hot Chili Peppers coming up. And so our job is to book this venue with as much content as humanly possible so that you all, our season ticket members, can not only see the benefits for 49ers game days, but can see the benefits for 49ers and Levi Stadium on non-game days. So I appreciated everything. Follow us along 49ers.com for more.
How exciting would that be to have the World Cup here in 2026? I'm still under contract for 2 more years, so I could go easily to go. I think I could do that.
I think you can do that.
I think I could do that.
Yeah, and listen, I talked about this at the, two State of the Franchises ago. A lot of people don't follow, if you don't follow real estate, and I totally understand why you wouldn't follow real estate north of the stadium here. As I point behind me and the old golf course that used to be there, there is a planned 250 mixed-use development that is really starting to move. If you leave here tonight, or those tuning in, if you want to go to whatever image or satellite thing you use to take a look at it, but it will completely revitalize this area. And I think it'll give all of us a pregame destination. Look, we need you in the seats for when things start. We got to talk.
Kickoff on time, please.
We got to talk about this as fans, but and what it means to every down matters. Even if you're enjoying that last beverage, I would say as you're walking in, right? We need you to get in sooner. Yeah. But I'll tell you, thinking about having hotels, mixed use restaurants, entertainment areas, pregame. For those of you who travel on the road, you get to see other stadiums and what that might mean to the environment. I can't even really truly tell you, frankly, the size and scale of that, except for to say, if you've been to Stanford Mall, if you've been to Santana Row, think about it like times 3 or 4 in size. And so it is the largest real estate project in the United States right now. And the first 50 acres is really all about creating an environment for, frankly, the 49ers faithful. It is restaurants, it's shops, it's hotels. And I truly believe it will, similar to you all, I assume most of you live here, you're either San Francisco Giants fans or you're Oakland A's fans, but those of you who've been to the San Francisco Giants, you know what that development did to China Basin and everything around it and how it's changed. And now you see what the Warriors, and give Joe Lacob and his entire team credit. I said this for a long time when we built the stadium in Santa Clara with our partners in the city of Santa Clara, that we were just getting started, and I meant that. And so now to think about a development that's going to, again, revitalize not just this area, but your game day experience, all I ask is just have a little patience, because it is going to disrupt things. If you think about a development that size, whether it's parking, whether it's road closures, our job is to try to educate you as best as we humanly possibly can to get you into the building, So, work with your service reps. Check out 49ers.com. It is going to change dramatically over the course of the next couple of years. So hang in there with us. I promise you, when it's all said and done, we'll all be very thankful that it happened.
Wow, that is exciting. For the business side, obviously, is thriving and vibrant. We are going to bring John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan out in a moment. And let's just speak to the, bringing them in together and the way they were able to flip this franchise. The working relationship they have together is so essential. You see it with the Warriors, with Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. I think you have it here. But just talk about your GM and your head coach, Al.
Love comes to mind, honestly. I know we're in a business, and people talk about it being a business, but it's a family around here. And going to, they say going to battle, and I know that takes on a new, definition of what's happening in the rest of the world. But I know what it means to be a fan of this team. I know what it means to have my daughters sit in seats and cry when we lose. I know the feeling when you wake up on Monday morning and you're questioning what happened, All I can tell you is you got two individuals at the top of this organization on the football side that are working their tails off to win the next Lombardi Trophy. And that's all that matters. There's no ego in this building. We're all working together. John and I talk every day about, you can't even imagine the stuff that we conversate about, whether it's fields or whether it's our travel to Mexico or whether it's our players. I know we all had a player back at minicamp this week that I know those guys are going to talk about, but this is one big family, and like any family, you're going to go through bumps in the road, and adversity is going to test you. And I think the pandemic tested us. It wasn't easy that year. We weren't performing well on the field. We had our injuries. And then last year, to kind of start the way we did and then come back, you don't come back unless your locker room and your core and your culture are strong. And we knew what we had in that locker room. We knew we were more talented than we were putting out on the field. And to sit in those meetings rooms and to be on the road and to watch those speeches and, frankly, to hear John Lynch talk to our players about what it meant to him to be a player and going through adversity. It's well reported, obviously. John has, plenty of opportunities in life, and he wants to be here. He wants to win a Super Bowl. And I promise you, that's not just stuff that you hear on the radio or TV. He is grinding every single day to put the best roster on the field, and I know Kyle is working his tail off to put the best coaching staff and to have the best X and O's. And so I just know give him credit. I say this, my dad and I are, Papa knows this. We talk a lot of sports, my father and I. He's a truck driver. And I grew up, listening to AM sports talk radio. So I love listening to these guys and talking shop with my dad. And I think when you go into any game, you want to have an opportunity to win. And, there's obviously a lot that goes into that. There's the talent on the field. There's the coaching staff. There's the preparation. And I just know when we show up on any given Thursday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday that I have full confidence our coach that we're going to have a good X and O schemes. Not just Kyle, but DeMeco and everybody else that goes into it, that we are putting our players in the best positions to succeed. It doesn't always go your way. We know that in the National Football League. The margin of error, the margin of victory is so small in this league that all those little intangibles matter so much. And knowing that confidence level that every Sunday we got a shot because those guys wearing whatever flat brim caps they're wearing, that they're going to be putting our team in the best position to win. And I think that's where it starts. Then it gets the players performing up to their standard. Then it gets to you all creating an environment that obviously they feel really good about. There's no question that home field advantage matters, right? That moments in time, that any given change or any given game can change on any given play due to the momentum in the stadium, the way the players feel, the confidence level. And so I've been here for a little bit now, and I can tell you all, I have never felt better about this organization, the people that are in it, the players that are on that sideline, that we got a chance to win every single game day.
Very simply, you got two of the best. You got, John won a couple of years ago, the Executive of the Year in the NFL, and Kyle is thought of as one of the most brilliant play designers and play callers and head coaches in the NFL. John and Kyle are on their way up. We'll talk football with those guys, but just give us one closing thought on what could be a really special year this year, Al.
It's not a closing thought. It's a thank you. It means so much. And for me personally, look, there was tears in my eyes walking out to that field last year, seeing all of you in attendance. And I say this to my family a lot. Like, I'm lucky. I pinch myself that I get to walk in here every day. And I try to remind myself that at the end of the day that we're serving all of you. That is our job. And you are the engine that keeps this car going. And I know at times we're not perfect. Trust me, I know we're not. I promise you that we're trying our hardest behind the scenes and in front of you to be perfect. But when you're this type of organization, dating all the way back to Bill Walsh, you try new things, you break things, you fail, you get back up, you succeed. And to know that was stripped away from us and you all showed up the way that you did and you held on with us throughout tough times, both wins and losses, and on the business side, I can't do anything but thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot to me, so thank you all very much.
Thank you, Al Guido. Look at that, brother. Al Guido, the president of the 49ers. They are here now. Let's bring them out. The general manager of your San Francisco 49ers, John Lynch, and your head coach, Kyle Shanahan. What's up, man? How are you? Good to see you. What's up, man? How are you? Good to see you. How you been? Things good? How you been? Where do you want to sit next to me? How are you? You're looking good. Good to see you. I haven't seen you guys, I think, since January the 30th in a football game in L.A. So a lot going on in the offseason. Let's start with the draft. John, obviously not having a first-round pick, but you have built this team like your Tampa Bay team that won the Super Bowl 37, with a dominant defensive line, and you went and got a guy with the 61st overall pick. So tell me about what you see from Drake Jackson and how he fits into the mix you have with Bosa and Kinlaw coming back and Kerry Hyder Jr. coming back as well, John.
You know, I think one of the things Kyle and I connected on, lots made about where the connection happened. And, you know, a lot of people think it's me having played for Kyle's dad. And that was a connection. But Kyle and I, you know, our history kind of goes back. I played for Tampa and Monty Kiffin and Mike Tomlin being there and all those guys. And Kyle's first professional job was with Tampa Bay. And John Gruden, I think, brought him in to be on the offensive side of the ball, but Kyle knew he could learn a lot on the defensive side of the ball. And in Tampa, clearly things started up front. That was very much a philosophy, and it's easy to have that philosophy when you have guys like Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice. It helped win us a Super Bowl, and so it's something I've always believed in. You know, I once said when I went from Tampa to Denver that 3 Mississippi is a lot easier than 4, and so it's pretty simple, you know. And I think in the day and age of football, the way it's set up right now for offense to have so much success, I really believe it's the great equalizer to have a dominant defensive line, and it's the one thing that you can dictate from. And Kyle has the same philosophy, so we've continued to add to it. We had some good pieces when we first got here. We've continued to add to it every year, and it served us well.
Yeah, they are called game wreckers. When you get a guy on that side of the ball as an offensive play caller, play designer, they kind of wreck what you're trying to do. But specifically, what have you seen from Drake so far?
Drake's been great. You know, just getting him in there. OTAs are always different. You know, we're not doing as much O-line, D-line stuff, so you don't get to see as much as you want from those guys. But when he's been in, he's exactly as advertised. I mean, the movement, what he can do. You know, I like to joke that we like to stockpile D linemen here, and we'll just worry about the offensive pieces and everything else later. Like, are you sure we need our 18th D lineman? But if they're that good, yes, you do. Nothing else matters. And when you sit there at pick 61, I mean, the odds are very small. You don't see many guys, I mean, who jump off the screen that don't go in the first 20 picks. And, you know, the way I watch the draft, these guys spend a long time on it throughout the year. But then they put these tapes together where I spend a month doing it. And the first time we watched Drake, he was like the 10th or so D lineman we watched. Because we were going off their projection of where they might go. But his tape was better than the 9 we saw before him, wow. Which it was a highlight tape and stuff like that. So you're making the best stuff possible, but it shows the potential of a guy. And yeah, there's some things of why we got him at 61. But when you see the full amount of what he's capable of doing, you know, I'm not trying to put pressure on him or anything, but you see the ability to be one of those top guys and to have that advantage at 61. Those are the things that change teams.
John, obviously you didn't have a third pick in the draft or the second pick in the draft. You didn't have a first-round pick. So how did you view the draft differently? And when you look at the draft, it was a very deep draft. So maybe it was a good year to have the 9 picks scattered. But as far as the overall organizational theme, picking it at 61 and then later, how did that change the prep?
You know, I don't think it changed it too much. You know, obviously, if you're picking third, you're picking third for a reason. We traded up, and so we dialed in on quarterbacks, and that's who we were going after. And so I think you become much more focused. So you have to take a much more holistic approach to the draft when you don't have an early pick, because that's what you do anyhow. So we always believe in being thorough, and you never know what could happen. We didn't make any trades this year for the first time, but you prepare for every scenario. So you study everyone, but you know, some of the guys that are going way up front probably didn't spend as much time on them. But having those 9 picks served us well. And, you know, we stayed pat because there were players there that we liked at every pick. And, you know, that's a cool thing when that kind of, when a plan comes together. And there were some fun moments in the draft, some not so fun when a player we really wanted and someone jumped us. But that happens in every draft, and you got to be adaptable. I think the one thing we do that I'm really prideful about is the way we work as a personnel staff and coaching staff. I think it allows us to really succeed, not only up high in the draft, but deep into it. And actually, that's where we've had a lot of our most, our biggest hits. And so hopefully that's the case this year.
And it's a very new coaching staff. When you have the level of success you've had the last 3 years, you're going to get guys poached from your team. A couple of years ago, it was solid, more defensive side of the ball. This year, you got your O-line coach, Chris Furster, but I think everybody else is gone from the offensive side of the ball, Coach. So talk about the staff you put together and how challenging, because a lot of those guys you were with many, many years, a lot of guys you know and have great credibility in the league, but you have an entirely new offensive staff with the exception of a few people.
Yeah, it was a different challenge. To tell you the truth, right when the season ends, all you want to do is kind of get away for a little bit and just check out. And that's what I thought I was going to be able to do. And about 4 days into it, guys were just leaving left and right. And good opportunities for all the guys, so you're happy for them. But at first, it was pretty miserable. I didn't want to be sitting there interviewing a bunch of coaches and trying to figure that out. The last thing I want to do is really deal with football at the moment. I need about a month to recover, and then I'm ready to jump back in, which is right about Indy and about the time you get, or the combine, and the time you get ready for the draft. But we lost the whole offensive side. I'm like, oh, man, I got to figure this out right now. And it took about 3 weeks. You got to talk to a lot of people and stuff. But when it's all said and done, it's an opportunity to get better. And I think that's for everyone. I mean, change isn't always needed, but or always wanted. But when you do it, it's a chance to get better. And not because you get better guys, but you just get different things. And, you know, you have a foundation in what we do. And me being on the offensive side of the ball, that's, you know, it always started with what I wanted, so it's gonna never change that much. The biggest thing is, for me, is always you don't want to lose an O-line coach. Like that's the biggest, and that's the thing that you know, he works with 5 guys, and so much is tied to that, where you can tell someone what you want, but you got to go through seasons before you really can do it together. And that's what's been so great with Chris and I, that he'd been here about 3 years, just easing into it before we got him in this role, and he's kind of been my guy. Now, McDaniel, who's been unbelievable to me for so long, I mean, Mike was my assistant when I was a 26-year-old receiver coach. So he has always been my assistant. He was my assistant with receivers, then with quarterbacks. Then I took him to Washington as a QC. Then I took him to Cleveland as a receiver coach. Then I took him to Atlanta as a QC. Then I took him here just I called him whatever the word was, but I think I labeled a run game specialist. But he
just
was,
give him a title.
Yeah, Mike was awesome. I mean, anytime you spend 15 years with someone, and you know, and then they start as your assistant, he was doing everything I wanted as receiver coach, and then as a quarterback coach, and then I put him with O-line, and that's where he learned the run game, because I already had Sean McVay as my QC, and Matt LaFleur as my quarterback coach. So I brought Mike there and put him in the O-line room, and he didn't do any run game, but he was always pass game with me in Houston. And then I sat him with Chris Furster for 3 years because other jobs were filled up, and he got to watch O-line from a run coach. And then when a job came open in Cleveland, I hired him as my receiver coach because he knew pass game for me, but he had been with Chris, and so it just blends together. And you need guys that you've put those hours in with, because you can't be everywhere, and you count on those guys. So what changes? I I used to have him do a lot of stuff for me, and now I'm trying to figure out, like, man, I don't want to do all that. So it's more time management with things like that and the value of that. And it's good because you got to train other guys. And you're never going to have those 15 years of experience. But, just bringing in these new guys Bobby Slowick, who, when I brought him over to the offensive side, I think 3 years ago, because he was doing so good on the defensive side, and we just thought he had more of an offensive mind. Let the defense coaches explain to you what I think that means. And he's been ready for this. And Clay Kubiak, who's everyone knows his dad, who's been in it for a while. His brother was a coordinator in Minnesota last year. He's been coaching high school football for the last 10 years. And he didn't want to go the NFL route. He wanted to live in Texas his whole life. He's had a lot of success being a head coach at high school. He's really became a great teacher. And he reached out to me 2 years ago just saying how he loved this path, but he feels he'll never be able to live with himself if he doesn't try for the NFL. So we gave him an opportunity last year as a defensive quality control, and he was DeMeco's top guy. But I think he has more of an offensive mind too. So I stole him from DeMeco, and I got him with the quarterbacks with Brian Greasy, who being able to fall into Brian Greasy, it brings an attribute that is different. Brian hasn't been coaching for 20 years, but Brian's the smartest players I've ever been around. And Brian, just with his intellect and being around him, I feel like it was perfect. And I know I'm probably talking too long on these guys, but and Bobby Turner, that was a surprise. He didn't. We always had an idea, but Bobby, he came at the end of the year and told me he needed a year off, which when you're 79, usually a year off means retiring. But he will not say that, so he said a year off. And then just have Anthony Lynn, who fell into it, where I've known Anthony growing up. He played for my dad. He played for Bobby.
Played here? He was a 49er?
He played here. So I've known him for a long time as a friend and as someone I respected. And being a former head coach, being a coordinator in this league, and not many guys can follow Bobby. And he was the perfect guy for it. And, when it's all said and done, it's different, but you feel better about it because you got a chance to get better when it's different.
You obviously lost a lot of great coaches, but you gained a lot of great coaches. And a lot of it is Kyle, isn't it, John? I mean, I'm sure you got calls directly. Maybe people don't know you. Hey, would Kyle want to have me on the staff? His reputation, I think, you lost a lot of guys because they elevated and got jobs, but a lot of people wanted to come here to work with him, didn't they?
No doubt about it. People want to coach for him. And he got everybody except one guy, Hank. We got to talk about Hank. Leonard Hankerson.
The wide receiver.
So Leonard Hankerson
Big
takes over
Hank.
for Wes Welker, and Hank's doing a tremendous job as well. And, it's been fun, Pops, watching Kyle because you go through these changes. He talked about you may not always want it, but sometimes it stimulates you, and all of a sudden he's back in teaching mode a lot earlier, and it really, I think, got his mind going. It was fun to watch that process and watch this staff really come together. It's been really cool to watch, and been a fun deal. And you have to adapt, you have to improvise, and I think it's a testament to Kyle and his leadership that people keep wanting to come in and poach our coaches, but that people, like you said, want to be here. And so it's not too hard. It's hard because you want to find the right people. But we got a lot of candidates who want to be a part of what we've got going.
And the one guy we didn't mention is Brian Schneider, who's been coaching teams in this league forever. I knew him with the Raiders for 3 years, Seattle for 11. We're going to bring Brian out in a little bit, and also DeMeco. But I'm looking out in the crowd, Kyle, and I see the number 21 jersey. That's not Dion. You used to wear that jersey to school, right? Stand up. That's not Dion. That's Frank. That's Frank. So what do you say about a guy that goes 16 years in the NFL, rushes for exactly 16,000 yards, the quintessential three-down back? He can run it. He can catch it. He can block it. I mean, in 4 years, we're going to be talking about this going into the Hall of Fame. What do you say about the career that Frank Gore had, Kyle?
Oh, he's right there with the top backs of all time. I mean, everyone can go through their backs and pick your one. And, I think everyone jumps at Barry Sanders because he's the most obvious one of that no one can touch him except John Lynch. He did a couple times.
Did you ever bring him down in the open field, Captain America?
I got him once.
You did?
I made a lot of his car commercials, too.
But, I mean, there's all different opinions. And, you know, it depends what situation you get in, the O-line to have those stats and everything, but, like, Frank was as good as anybody. And my first year in the NFL was Frank's rookie season, and I told this to our team the other day. I mean, I didn't know anything about Frank, and I just sat in the back of those draft meetings in Tampa Bay, and they evaluated everyone, and we're talking about the top backs, and they're showing the highlight tapes on them. We're all hearing about the history, and we got to vote on them and stuff. And you know, I think that year we took Cadillac Williams. I think with the 4th pick, Cedric Benson went, Ronnie Brown went, but all these guys. And I remember seeing Frank Gores, and I just remembered at a young age seeing us say and be like, why isn't that guy the best one? Like and then, oh, he's got 3 ACLs, he's got all this. I'm like, all right, but he's healthy now, right? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, no, those guys get hurt. And so he goes in the 3rd round, and he doesn't, and he makes it. And then so that's the story I always go to. And then there's a lot that work out the other way. But Frank's always been that good, and to watch that adversity he had in college and to coming in the league, and every year he ran the same. And how hard he ran, how he always hit the right hole, how you had to tackle him. Like, he made people tackle him. He was never going to go down unless you did everything you could to get him. And he did it for about 100 years. And that's what blows my mind, because I don't care how tough you are. Running back's different than every other position in sports. And I mean, whether it's high school, college, or NFL, it's just different. And you watch these guys, and it's tough to keep that up. Not only the talent, but the mindset of just doing it. And you got to not only have the body to do it, but there's got to be something different inside. And Frank's had that forever. And to watch how long he did it, it just shows the character, but we all know the talent. And I mean, when he's said and done, he just knocked a guy out like 3 weeks ago in some boxing match too. So like, the dude he's the man. And he's starting to get more accolades because his numbers, I think, got up there close to Emmitt Smith's and stuff, but he should have always had that. The tapes always looked that talented, and the stats got there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The best.
Blitz pickup was insane.
Well, it's hard to be a true tough running back and last that long if you can't do blitz pickup too, because blitz pickup's about putting your face in people and not hesitating and not taking edges. And Frank woke up ready to go. So there was no worries about that, whether it was running the ball, whether it was blocking, whether it was catching, or whether it was stepping in a boxing ring. It really didn't matter with Frank.
Yeah. You had to wait a while, but once you get to Canton, you know, it's all worth it. But he's not going to have to wait. Well, we're talking a first ballot Hall of Famer, John. Are we in Frank Gore?
I would think so. You know, I think his record speaks for itself. You know, Kyle just talked about who the guy was. It was so fun being around him last week. There was a period last week where I heard Al as we came in and right at the close, and you just, you know, I've been around football for a long time, and football's been really good to me. It's provided for some experiences that I never thought I'd be able to do. But being in this organization, I think it's one of the things that drew us here. You know, Frank retires one day, Alex Mack retires the next. You know, Alex Mack possibly going to the Hall of Fame sometime. You know, the day Frank retired, Ronnie Lott and Charles Haley and Keena Turner, we got 13 Super Bowl rings talking to our rookies. Oh. That night, I'm asked to go over to the Dwight Clark Legacy Series, where we got panels with Hall of Famers like Charles Haley, Terrell Owens showed up, Bryant Young, and Steve Young, and just the greatness you're around. And then, you know, the guys who aren't in the Hall of Fame, the Tom Rathmans of the world. And we're not even talking about the GOATs. We're not talking about Joe and Jerry, and you know, it's just unbelievable. And that's what the Niners are all about. That's why we're here, and that's why we work every day to try to get better, so that we can not only get there and compete for it, but win another Lombardi and then do it again. So that's what we're here for.
Let's hear it, faithful. Your general manager of the 49ers, John Lynch. Thank you, John. All right. Appreciate you, man.
Congrats on your deal, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Longer than your deal. Yeah, you're staying. So we're going to leave Kyle up here, the head coach and offensive coordinator, play caller. We're going to bring up your defensive coordinator. I think you know him from last year. What a great job he did. DeMeco Ryans. How are you, DeMeco? What's going on, man? Good to see you. And a guy that I know well, Brian Schneider. 11 years in Seattle. He's going to look better in red and gold. How are you, man? Good to see you. How you been? Good to see you. Let's give him a nice ovation. So, Kyle, let me start with you and Brian, because you guys go back years, to the UCLA days. What drew you to bring them to the 49ers?
Well, it's always good when you know someone. And my first year in coaching, I was a graduate assistant at UCLA. I was there for about 6 months. They were making me go to class too much, so I had to get out of there. But Brian was a special teams coach there, so that was the first place I got to meet him. He had gone to Colorado State, which was the school I loved growing up, or at least through high school. That's where I was hoping to go to. But watching Brian there, I didn't know anything about special teams at the time, but you watched the energy, how he carried himself, the type of person he was, and I always really liked the guy. Didn't know if he could coach, seemed like he could, but I didn't know much about special teams. And then I go to the NFL, and I think he was in the NFL like the next year or 2 years later. Whenever Pete went to Seattle, and then to watch him for 10 years at Seattle, and have to go against him. And then, and I did that at a number of other teams, but then to come to this division and have to face him and be able to see him a little bit, but I'm like, man, that guy, 20 years ago, he was a cool dude. Now I can't stand him.
You're on the same team now. Come on, guys.
So to know someone like that and then to be able to watch 10 years of tape and to see how they are through different personnel and everything, you know what a guy stands for. And it didn't take an interview or anything. I was just hoping we had a chance to get him. And once we had that opportunity, I feel very fortunate to get him here, and I know it's going to be a hell of a deal for the Niners.
Well, welcome, Brian. We know how good you are. We've been watching you for years. So is it weird coming in here in this building after all the conversations you had with Coach Carroll up in Seattle about this place? How has it been now being a 49er?
Well, it is a hell of a rivalry. And I tell you what, being here, I've always thought the 49ers were the most physical team we played every year. And, we played them twice a year. One time we played them 3 times a year, and that was always the game. And so I have huge amount of respect for not only what Kyle's done since he's been here, but really over the whole run. This organization has been everything that, and I know what it was like to compete against them. So I'm really excited to be here and to be with Kyle and his staff.
Without question. All 3 phases of football you gotta do. Offense, and obviously special teams is so big. And DeMeco, congratulations on your success last year. A lot of injuries you had to get through, and you wind up number 3 overall in the NFL in total defense and as a play caller. You played the position so well as a Mike linebacker, but how was it making the adjustment and calling defenses on game day?
It wasn't a huge adjustment because as I played the game, I always kind of was thinking ahead, always thinking about what calls we should be in, what would I have called in those situations. So I've always went through that process mentally. So to go through it, it was a hurdle. It was something that you have to get reps at things to be better at it. And the more I did it, the more comfortable I got at doing it. But the cool part about it is all about the guys that we have. It doesn't matter what call I gave. Those guys made the call come to life. Like, those guys bought into everything he was asking to do defensively, and they went out and they played with heart. They played with passion. They played with the effort, tenacity that we asked for, and that's what made it an easy first year for me because of the character of the guys we have in the room.
DeMeco, tell me about some of the new pieces you have, and I guess we'll start with the big money guy, as Brandon Aiyuk called him, Charvarius Ward, who we saw in red and gold with Kansas City, and big, tall cut, likes to play, press man, can do it all, and now we got him in red and gold here. What have you seen from him, and tell us about his skill set?
Yeah, the first thing about Charvarius is just his confidence, right? He's a confident guy. If you play the corner position, you're going to be on the island a lot, right? You're going to be in a lot of one-on-one situations. That's what everyone sees. So you have to have the right mindset to play that position. And that's the first thing that jumped out to me, meeting the guys, his confidence, his swagger that he has. And then watching his tape, like the man-to-man cover skills are top-notch. So for me, getting a guy like that who can protect us, right, on the edges, right? We know guys are going to go at us, deep balls, whatever they may be. Now it gives me confidence to have a guy I know can go out there and he can stand up and compete against anyone. He's played against a lot of top talent in his league, and he's done it at a really good level. Played in the biggest moment. He's played in the Super Bowl. He has Super Bowl experience. He's won the Super Bowl. So to add a guy like that with the knowledge, experience he has, like, I couldn't ask to get a better guy.
You played in the Super Bowl against us. Yeah. Super Bowl 54. So you had to scheme against him. Now you got him on your side, Kyle. What's your new corner like?
He's been great. I mean, just for me, when I watch corners, all I see is man-to-man. Because I think from a receiver standpoint, I just think of who can we not get open against. And and then there's so much more to it than that. I mean, all the zone we play, replacing and tackling and stuff like that. But I want to see a corner who can cover. And if he can't, you do not pay for him. And he can cover. And no one can do it forever on their own. You need a pass rush, you need everything. But I'm really excited to have a guy here that I truly believe is wired to cover guys, which if your pass rush isn't great, you don't always need to help out. Eventually, receivers, if there's not a rush, you're going to get to a guy. But in our tenure here, we had Sherman who played at a real high level and did some great things for us. But now to get a guy in here who I think can play for a number of years and who has that movement and stuff, and to me, it's going to get better each year. I thought last year was his best year, and I think he's just starting. And it always depends on the guy. And the guy we've gotten to know here, we've been with him for here the last 6 weeks, and he's been better than advertised. He works his tail off. He's a good person, and I think he has a lot more aspirations than just being a high-paid starting corner in this league.
Schneid, you already lobbying for him to be a gunner on special teams or no?
Hey, he can do everything. I'm always in their ear for that.
So he was the big splash free agent signing. And then on special teams, you wanted to upgrade on special teams, not only hiring a brilliant coach like Brian, but the signings. Talk about some of the new personnel we're going to see this year, guys that are core special teamers, that are difference makers on your side of the ball. George Odom, Ray McLeod, and we saw Oren Burks last year, and he's a tremendous athlete.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. When we looked through the film of all the free agents, John and Kyle asked me to rank them who I liked, and Burks was number one in terms of that linebacker position for me. And so that's always the wish list, right? And so I wrote that up there, and it always doesn't work out that way because, again, the decisions you have to make that Kyle has to make as a team, and DeMeco when they're looking at their roster, and then the money situation, which I stay way out of. But when it works out like that, it's wonderful. And what I saw on tape from Burks in terms of an athlete and a guy moving in space, he has even been better when he's been here. And so that was a great surprise, and you don't get that very often. And then you throw in George, who plays safety. He's a Pro Bowl special teams player, and the same thing. I ranked him number one, too, in terms of our safety looks as far as special teams goes. And it happened to work in with DeMeco and how they look at him as a defense. And then and I don't know how it worked out, but George is the same way. Both of these guys came in, and what they did on the field is even better than the tape. But what makes me more excited is in meeting rooms, how they prepare, the professionals that they are. And it's just been amazing to have them in the room. So those two things happen, and then you get Ray McLeod, who was also up there as my top returner. And I think I've been in the NFL for 14, 13 years, and I've never had anything like that happen where it all works out. But Ray, you guys are really going to like his toughness. He fits right into the mold of the team that Kyle and John built here, which is really good football players that love to play ball, that are physical, that are instinctual. So all three of those guys line right up into it. So I couldn't be happier, and we couldn't be happier with how they performed.
Yeah, I remember a line you had towards the end of the year where let's just break even on special teams. Let's not get outplayed on teams.
Yeah, we had some bad injuries last year that eventually, in the last couple of years, and that hurts offense and defense where everyone can see that the most, but it hurts special teams so much because the guys who you're training on special teams and you're dependent on all year are now your starters in offense and defense, and now you're training guys on special teams that just got to your team within the last couple of weeks, and so that's usually the team that pays for it the most, and we've had to deal with it the last couple of years, but we also knew we had to add some guys who really were difference makers on special teams. And we say that every year. And we just did it this year for Brian. But no, it worked out this year. And you want special teams players all the time. The problem is if you're going to go out and draft or pay in free agency a guy just for special teams, it is going to hurt your offense and defense in the long run because you only have so many guys up on game day. You only have 53 on the roster. You only get 47 up, all right? 48 with extra. But, it's all those guys have a job to do. And if you have 3 guys who are on your roster just for special teams and you have 2 injuries, now you got guys out there who shouldn't be on the field playing the whole game offense and defense. They're too tired to play special teams. So you just got bad offensive defensive guys out there, and you're having someone who's not good at special teams, and it just takes everything apart. So the key is they rank it separately every year, who he thinks the best special teams players are. Well, we also wanted to add a veteran safety. We're not trying to just add a guy who can play special teams, but man, we want one. But he's got to be able to make our team at safety too. He is one of our top 4 safeties, and he's a Pro Bowl special teams player. What about the linebacker? Burks was one of our top linebackers in free agency. His number 1 linebacker in special teams. Everyone really likes our 3 starters. All right, now we got a guy behind him who, if one of those guys gets hurt, he can come in and play good starting linebacker football. But while he's not doing that, we think we got one of the best special teams players in the league. And then you look at our receiver standpoint of Ray. I didn't even look at his punt returns. I just looked at his receiver stuff, and I wanted him as a receiver badly. But you got to go out and pay for that. And you look at the balance of how you do your money, and it's like, all right, well, wait, he's your number 1 punt returner also? To be able to, yeah, so we got to get a punt returner. But if you do that and you can't play wide out, that's all right if no one gets hurt. But there becomes a problem when someone does. And I wanted Ray strictly for a receiver. If I looked at him strictly as a punt returner, I would have wanted him for the same exact reason. And that's why, yeah, we needed to improve our talent on special teams. But at the same time, we didn't take away from our offense and defense. And that's why I think we got 3 top guys, because they can play football.
Did we mention Trey Lance at all tonight since we've been talking? That's my bad. My bad. Tell me what you see about Trey potentially being your starting quarterback. And, you know, we know the talent. We can see the physical ability that he has. But take us behind the scenes a little bit. The quality of the man, the guy you spend so much time with in the meeting rooms, the locker room, and just what kind of teammate he's going to be, Kyle.
I mean, I think you can ask his teammates when they get up here, too, on that. It's awkward for me to give just compliments on guys on their personality, but Trey's a great dude. He's himself. You can tell he was raised very good. He treats everyone right. He's also got he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he likes to compete out there and play ball. And he handles himself the right way. Like, I think the biggest thing on Trey that everyone's got to realize is he is younger. Trey's got more horsepower inside of him, I think, than he even knows of. Just from the whole, talent, but also what he's made of, how intelligent he is, how I think he's going to be able to overcome adversity. I do believe he's going to be able to handle this pressure. It's going to be hard, but that's what the position is. And there's only so many people in this world who have the talent to be put in that spot. And there might be 32 of them, but there's definitely not 32 of them who have the talent and who have the stuff inside that allows you to handle that position through the ups and downs and everything. I don't care how good you are, people are going to come after you. And you look at people like Peyton Manning, who's played so much football in his life and all that, and what he did his rookie year and how many picks he threw and all that stuff. And he was made of the right stuff, and he was able to overcome things, and you keep doing that, and that's what inspires me the most with him. Now, we got to put him in positions to help it be easier on him and try to help him be successful, and that's why I love the team we got around him. Like, I feel as good about our wideouts right now as I felt since we've been here. Our running backs, you guys saw what Elijah did last year. We got to get him healthier so we can do it more throughout the year. I think Trey Sermon learned a ton in his rookie year, and he's realized, all right, what do I have in this league, and what do I need to improve on? Bringing in Ty, this rookie, will add some more to us. We have depth there. Everyone knows we got a pretty good tight end. I think the guys that we brought in here to compete with Charlie and Dwelly are going to either beat them out or help them get better too. And, yeah, we're missing a couple guys on the O-line that you guys know of. I still think we have a chance to be better there. All right, and it's opened up more opportunity for other guys. Not names you guys know, all right, but they're guys that we see that we know that can do it. Now, you got to see how they do it through 16 games, but I know they can do that, and that's what this league is you really don't know if you can play until you get your ass kicked, because that's when it starts. Because when you're going to, and usually it might be preseason, it might be week 1, but it's going to happen, and then we're going to know if you can play. Because how do you come to practice on Wednesday? How do you practice differently? How do you get in a position where, like, that ain't happening again? And some guys are like, ooh, how do I avoid that? I can't do that. And that's where guys go this way and guys go the other way. The guys on our team have the ability. Our quarterback has the ability. A lot of guys you don't know about have the ability. We're going to put them through everything. And when they go through the ringer in the season, then you find if they can do it for the long haul.
Fascinating stuff. You're pretty good with that microphone. You're not going to leave us to be a broadcaster, are you? The money they're paying broadcasters is now insane.
I'm just waiting.
Not radio, though, TV.
I'm just waiting to say something good so I can drop it.
No, you drop the mic. Drop it now because you're done.
No,
Thank you, Kyle.
I save it for a better day.
Thank you, man. That was fun. Terrific. Thank you. Good seeing you, DeMeco. Good seeing you, man. Good to see you. Welcome, man. We got to get together, man. We got to catch up. Doubt. Welcome. I love it here. Thank you. Brian Schneider, DeMeco Ryans. Kyle Shanahan with the mic drop. We mentioned the wide receivers. Let's bring them out here now. Jauan Jennings is in the house tonight. Is Jauan here? Let's bring him out here. What's up, man? Let's see the hair color. Let's see the hair color. What's up, man? And this other guy now, Aiyuk. Aiyuk is on fire. Brandon Aiyuk. What's up, man? Good to see you. How are you, man? Welcome. The coach was on fire there for a while, wasn't he, holding court? He was. We were talking about Trey, and you were down at 3D QB in Orange County, working with him. Brandon, tell me what you've seen from him.
I've seen a whole lot from him, especially since we started this all-season program, just seeing how much he's grown, just seeing him just throw the football, lead in the locker room, connect with guys. We have a special quarterback.
Yeah. You were down there a little bit as well, Jauan? Tell me what you saw.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I know you were.
We had fun. You know, we grinded all week, and I saw the same trade that y'all saw last year, you know, great competitor.
Yeah. You know, people think of your game because you're so big and physically strong. Both of you guys can block. If you're going to play for Kyle, you got to be able as a wide receiver to block in the run game. But you both have uncommon ability to get free from man coverage. You heard Kyle talking about Charvarius Ward. How does he evaluate corners? Can you play man, right? The ability that you have to create separation, both of you. I'll start with you, Jauan. Is that something you've been born with? Something you've learned more here at the NFL level, something you had at Tennessee? How is it you're able to consistently beat tough man coverage?
I think it came from playing basketball, because at first I played quarterback. So, you know, going from quarterback to receiver, you had to learn that, you had to learn the basics first. And then I think it was just coaching. There's no thinking to it, it was coaching. Just taking coaching and then just always being able to rely on, you know, the basic skill sets that I need each and every time on each and every route. You know, it's the same thing. It's muscle memory.
How for you, Brett? Because beating zone coverage is different, right, than beating man coverage. The ability to beat man coverage separates the great ones. How do you do it?
I think he's, first of all, he's being humble, because
he's great at it.
I haven't seen anybody be able to separate the way that he does. I think it's kind of naturally for him in his body, and a lot of people don't have that. But I feel like it's a little bit different for me. I say just really being able to use my just size and feet, but it's not as natural for me. I have to kind of look at other people, talk to Kyle, talk to Hank, Wes, talk to other receivers, and just queuing up little things, little small details, talking to DBs on what makes them uncomfortable and how to separate that way. Yeah,
talk about your new wide receiver coach. Wes Welker has been here. Leonard Hankerson here as well, but now he takes over. Tell us about the guy you call Hank.
That's my dog.
That's your guy?
That's my guy right there. Yeah. You know, he's a young coach. He still shows us, just like Wes did. He'll come in the room and show us his film when he was in Washington, when he was in Atlanta with Kyle, and we get to see him do it firsthand. And when he coaches us, we can go out on the field and have a visual representation of our coach doing it. So we have that in our mind when we go on the practice field. Yeah.
Tell me about your new coach. And Wes, you know, Wes could block. He was a tough, smaller receiver in the slot a lot, but he could block in the run game. What is he?
Do it all.
Yeah.
Do it all. I mean, you know, getting drafted. I mean, I feel like I got drafted by Wes. Like meeting him at the combine, you know, it was just a crazy moment then. And like you said, when we came in, he would show us film, and so I play slot. So, you know, I would like to look at going to the office with Wes and we watch film. And same thing with Hank. Like you earn respect from guys who, you know, go out there and do it on the field first. So, and they're great guys, and just continue to learn from them.
You know, your rookie year was kind of weird with the pandemic and no fans, and you came on and did great things. The touchdown you had against Philadelphia on Sunday night football. Remember when he jumped right over Epps? That's when Aiyuk is on fire was born. That was an insane play. Did you know we were going to leap him before you got to him? When was your thought process that you were going to high hurdle him?
I can tell you.
You just did it? It was out of body?
Oh, yeah. I got to stop doing that.
That was insane. And then, you know, last year it started a little slowly for you. you know, you got together with the coaching staff and you were able to finish the year on a great run all the way through the end of the regular season into the postseason. So are you looking to continue that momentum from midseason on, like the Bear game starting to the end of the year, and just roll right into the start of the new year, Brandon?
Absolutely. So, I mean, when the schedule came out, I feel that it was only right that we were playing Chicago in Chicago the first week of the season. And so I'm excited about that, but definitely excited.
Do you feel like, and I know, you know, Jauan, you had a breakout year the year before, you had battled some injuries. We talk about it being a young wide receiving room, but you guys have played a lot of quality snaps in the league and the highest games. At the end, you had to win them all to get in, and then all the playoff games. So do you feel like you're still learning in the league, but now as a young group, it's your time to take over now?
Constantly learning, constantly. But that's the fun part. But, yeah, I feel like, it's about time. It's about time to, you know, do, like, take the training that we've been given, you know, and go into training camp, have a great training camp, take that over from preseason into the regular season, and, you know, don't change anything up. And I think it's gonna be a great year this year.
You know, going back to last year, the faithful just took to you right away. You know, we could see it in August football and at the start of the year. I don't know if it's the hair color or the way you block in the run game, but why do you think? I mean, you feel the love from the faithful, don't you?
All the way. Yeah.
What is it about this guy that you love?
Definitely feel
And
it.
what is it? What is it, do you think? The way you play, because you play like your hair's on fire, and it looks like it might be.
That's what it is. It's just, hey, man, we all got a common goal, and that's to win. Like, I don't like to lose, and shoot, if the Niners was my favorite team and I'm at home, I don't want them to lose, you know? Like, hey, so that's what I do it for. I do it for the fans, you know, and as well as my family, as well as my brothers. Like, this is, like, hey, this is what I do. I like to be the best at it, so, hey, we here.
You know, yeah, let's hear it. They love you. You know, one thing we talk a lot about is the Yak Bros, and, you know, Debo gave us the line, and George is obviously great at it, and you, and Kyle's system, and the ability to get the ball out on time, and then create gaps and openings where you guys can yak and yards after catch. Is that obviously, because going back to your college days, that's what you were known for? Do you feel like your skill set marries so beautifully with the scheme and the way Kyle calls offensive football?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that's, well, first, of course, the scheme and the timing, the quarterback getting the ball in the right position to be able to do that. But it's also something that we talk a lot about. And you kind of notice it. I kind of notice it now when you have new guys come into the offense and they're giving them new cues and coaching them up on just how to create a little bit extra space and little details when you catch the ball to, you know, get the mantra Yak Bros and become one of those. So I think just the people that we get in, if you watch anybody's tape from where they came from before, you could see those traits and you could see the Yak.
Tell us about some of the new guys in the room. Obviously, you went into the slot a lot. You're such a great X, and Debo's such a great Z, and you would go inside and play a little F for Kyle. We were hearing about Ray McLeod and how he is. Tell us about some of the new guys we're going to see in training camp this year, Jauan.
Ray's electric. Ray's been having a great camp this year. He's been reading the defensive right. One of my favorite plays is a choice route, and, you know, he's been doing great at that. So, you know, I just like looking at that route. He's been running it good. So that's just from what I've seen. As far as everything else, he's fast, and he has a feel. He has a feel to him.
What have you seen from some of the new guys, Brandon?
I've seen a lot. I feel like we have a real legit receiver room. Are you talking about the receivers? Everybody?
Yeah. Well, the whole team. But what do you see from your room?
Starting with receivers. With Danny. Of course, everybody knows Danny. First thing that's we seeing, you see him, fast guys, they just come on the field, and you want to see speed live in person. You know, I saw in the media that we drafted a fast receiver, so he kind of jogs onto the field, and then you just see him take off, and you're like, that's the speed right there. And he talks about how he hit 23 miles per hour, and it's just crazy speed. But he's a young guy. He's out there asking questions, ready to learn. The two guys, Tayseer and Tay. Tay smooth, Tayseer, feet, but they all show a lot of good things. They're all willing to learn. They're all excited. They're all happy to be here, and they're just asking questions that I didn't ask my rookie year, questions that I didn't even think about asking. So they're in a good spot. And then even just the the running backs that we got as well, and Ray. We have a lot of talent. We have special players on offense, so I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. A lot of touchdowns, San Francisco. Before we let you go, Father's Day is coming up, and you guys are young men, but you're also dads, and there's a perspective and a life-altering moment when you become a father. So I'll start with you, Jauan. As a young man, how do you balance being the best you can be as a football player and also being the best dad you can be?
Just, communication is key. That's one. I try to, communicate. And it's tough. It's rough, not, what I'm saying, you have not seeing your child as much when you have to go on the road and stuff. But, it's just staying focused, and knowing what you're doing it for. That's about it.
Amazing. How about you, Brandon? What has it meant to you?
It's been everything. It's been everything. Having my son, he came on this journey with me. This new journey being a 49er at the same time. So he was born my rookie year, and I feel like it was perfect timing. Just a reason to wake up every day, go to work. You have a great day, you come home, he makes it even better. You have a bad day, you come home, he makes it into a good day. And just seeing him growing as I'm growing as well in this.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome having him right there with me. It's been great.
It's beautifully said. You're growing together.
Yes, sir.
Let's throw a round of applause for a couple of the great wide receivers. Jauan Jennings, Brandon Aiyuk. Aiyuk is on fire! Thanks for having you. You want to keep that mic and be my co-host? I know you could do it. He's incredible. Thank you so much for coming out tonight to the State of the Franchise, the first one we've been able to do since 2019 with a live studio audience and so many great moments. Kyle Shanahan was holding court there for a while. I didn't think I'd be able to get that mic away from him. But many thanks to Al Guido. Big round of applause for the president, and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, DeMeco Ryans, and the new special teams coordinator, Brian Schneider, and obviously our two young wide receivers. So let's give a big round of applause for everybody that was here tonight. We certainly hope you enjoyed our 2022 49ers State of the Franchise, brought to you by Socios.com. Thank you so much. We will see you at the home opener. We'll see you in August for the preseason schedule. Thank you so much. Let's hear it one more time before we go. Ready? Touchdown, San Francisco! Thank you. Great night. Thank you. Thank you.